What's going on, guys? It's fight season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. They just had an interview with one another, and this fight is stacking up to be one of the biggest fights in UFC history. I know Ilia Topuria is kind of a newer fighter on the scene, but he was able to go in there and knock out Alexander Volkanovski in the second round in incredible fashion at UFC 298. And Max Holloway just went out and beat Justin Gaethje, a weight class above his own from 145 to 155, knocking him out with 1 second left on the clock, and probably with the greatest performance of 2024 so far from a fighter who was in a foreign weight class, who went up and beat someone that good in Gaethje. So this fight has so much stacking on it because we have Topuria getting agitated, Holloway's agitated with one another. These guys want to throw hands. Topuria's a monster, Holloway's a monster. This fight is one of the most fun fights of the year so far, and genuinely I cannot wait for this fight to happen. So today I just kind of want to break down of why Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway is going to be the biggest fight of the year and possibly one of the biggest fights of all time. But before we jump into the video, if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the best way to help out the channel grow. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always notified about UFC content and when it releases. But without further ado, please, let's tune right into the video talking about why Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway is one of the biggest fights of the year. So, Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway just had an interview with Brendan Fitzgerald that is actually up on the UFC YouTube channel. If you have not gone to see the entire thing, I think it's about 15 to 25 minutes long. It's somewhere in there. If you have not gone to watch the entire thing, it is an amazing watch because you kind of get to see the background between Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway. A common theme in this fight is Max Holloway is very agitated with Ilia Topuria, and the same is going back. The first thing that kind of started off the card is Brendan Fitzgerald asked why Ilia Topuria has his own BMF title, and of how he was saying that Max Holloway wasn't man enough to put his belt on the line, and truly thinks that if he beats Holloway that he is going to be the BMF. Fair enough, I understand the thing. Ilia Topuria wants the belt. He wants to be able to go and say that he beat the quote-unquote BMF of the UFC, and he wants to keep doing this same thing over and over again. But truly, what is going to be going on between Holloway, and why is he even more agitated? I think the thing is that Ilia Topuria said something that got under Holloway's skin, and that was that he didn't want to fight him. And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's something crazy to say because we all know Holloway would fight anyone. And yeah, that's the big reason. So I think truly that Ilia Topuria went out there and said that, and Max Holloway's just, you know, his Hawaiian blood, him going out there and fighting any person at any time and anywhere. That has been shown throughout his UFC career, possibly fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov on short notice, and then taking the Dustin Poirier fight, and then taking a Justin Gaethje fight for a BMF title when the UFC was looking to stack UFC 300. Max Holloway is a man who takes any fight, any time of anywhere, and that is something that you can never take away from him. And I think Ilia Topuria is kind of overlooking him at that certain point. Now, Max Holloway is doing his usual thing, saying that he's going to see how this fight goes when they get to UFC 308 and of how the main event is going to go. He's questioning how good Ilia Topuria is, and I think the biggest thing for these fighters is they can't get too cocky in themselves, because I know Ilia Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski was incredibly cocky, but I did know that Ilia realized that if he hit Alex's chin one time, he would go to sleep, and that was such a big thing considering that Volk's chin was kind of fragile. Now the thing with Max Holloway is Max has an absolute iron rock hard chin, and that will allow him to do so many more things down the line to where he can be able to absorb a shot, where he can stay in the pocket a little bit longer to possibly be able to go out there and win these certain rounds. I do think that Max Holloway is a man that is going to be able to give Ilia Topuria a really hard fight coming up at UFC 308 in that main event, and truly it is something that's going to be so fun to watch. There's not that many people who can get under Max Holloway's skin, and I think Max Holloway truly thinks that Ilia Topuria is kind of privileged. He's a brat as the champion. He shouldn't be a good representation of the UFC, of how he wanted to pick and choose his fights at the top. But once Ilia Topuria started talking about Max not fighting and his character and all this different type of stuff, I think Max switched his gear very quickly and is now locked in to absolutely beam Ilia Topuria more than before. Now, going back to Topuria's side, I think Topuria is looking to put on the best masterclass the UFC has ever seen. He is so skilled in every little thing that he does, and that's what's going to make this fight so good. I know I have a lot of people people in my comment sections debating whether Max Holloway is going to win this fight, whether Ilia Topuria is going to win this fight, and when it's really what's going to happen. But this fight might be the hardest fight to pick a winner for, because I know how good Max Holloway is. He's shown it so many times over and over again. But Ilia Topuria may be the second best well-rounded fighter inside the UFC organization, right behind Islam Makhachev. He's probably a better striker than Islam, and he's probably a top 15 grappler inside the organization at least. That's how good Ilia Topuria is. Islam is a different breed, being one of the best strikers, a top 5 striker, and the best grappler in the organization. But Ilia might be the best striker right now inside the UFC, and pair that with a grappling game that is absolutely deadly and is going to give Max Holloway problems, someone who's actually going to go in there and take down Max Holloway. This fight has so many different layers to it, and I think that there are so many different things that could possibly happen between these two individuals. Going into every fight, there's a different narrative going on, considering that we have Max Holloway, who's been inside the UFC for such a long time. It feels like he's the oldest man in the room. In reality, he's only 32 or 33 years old, but it's because he started in the organization at such a young age. But Max Holloway is really here in his prime, looking to beat Ilia Topuria. He knows that he can beat Topuria, and Topuria knows that Holloway can win. But the biggest asset Topuria has, and it's something that you cannot measure in skill, it's that heart that he has and that belief in himself. Ilia Topuria is the most confident person in the UFC by far. No question in my mind. If he didn't think that he was going to win this fight, he wouldn't have that BMF title around him and on his shoulder. If he didn't think that he was going to beat Volkanovski, there was no way that he was going to go in there and take pictures with the UFC belt before doing so. Ilia Topuria thinks it's God's destiny that really sent him here to go and absolutely tear through the UFC featherweight division. Topuria versus Holloway is going to be the fight of the year in my opinion, and either one of these fighters who gets this is going to be in title contention for UFC Fighter of the Year, and that is just it, because both of these fighters have had amazing years. Holloway knocking out Gaethje, Topuria knocking out Volkanovski, and both of these individuals are some of the best fighters the UFC has ever seen in their respective weight classes, and this is 100% going to be the fight of the year in my opinion, considering that there's strategy going on, there's emotion in this fight, and truly this is such an amazing fight to happen, considering that both individuals every single day are looking to go in there and win the belt and take their head off, and that is something absolutely crazy. And ultimately, I am so excited to see Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, seeing that added layer of both fighters not happy with one another, of both fighters not really having the respect or having that animosity between one another, is going to bring this fight onto a new level, and is something that I cannot wait to watch at UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about the build up to this fight. This fight is so amazing. There are so many different storylines going on. We got Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria not liking each other. Ilia saying that Max doesn't want to fight him. Max Holloway coming back and said that Ilia Topuria isn't a good boxer. There is so much stuff going on, but ultimately what I know, a lot of stuff is being said, but these two individuals will come to fight in one of the best fights of the year. Max Holloway is probably the most durable person inside the organization. Ilia Topuria's got quite a chin on him himself, considering he took that head kick from Jai Herbert. Also, Ilia Topuria is one of the best grappling boxer combos inside the organization. Maybe one of, if not the best well-rounded fighter in the UFC currently. And Max Holloway is a man that everyone loves to watch. The Blessed Express is going to go in there and do what he does every single time he's in the octagon. Put pressure on him, snowball that fight going up and up and up. But it's going to be a battle between quantity and quality. Max Holloway throwing 1,000 strikes in this fight, between Ilia Topuria throwing the best, precise, absolute most powerful strikes the UFC has ever seen. And this is going to be such a chess match that I am so amazed that I'm going to be able to watch, and I'm so excited to be able to witness on my own. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the UFC content. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always notified about the future UFC content as it releases. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.